沾仁波切底部佛典。
Purification and merits to myself and dedicated to my loved ones and inspiring many. In the presence of my teacher or pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all the Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, I will study the Wheel of Sharp Weapons, 50 verses, Lamrim, Refuge, 3 principal paths, mind transformation teachings, and uphold these from my heart and bring these to those who are ready with skillful means with great compassion. In the presence of my teacher or pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all the Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and all Dharma protectors, I will aspire, acquire, and engage in the higher tantras. I will hold my samaya clean and commitment supreme and encourage others to do so. I will be an example of living, breathing, walking, talking Dharma. In the presence of my teacher or pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all the Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and all Dharma protectors, I will respect all beings, both seen, unseen, animals, the environment, all things I use. I will appreciate and understand the impermanence of all objects and not be attached. In the presence of my teacher or pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Buddhas, Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, I will use the rest of my life, the majority of my days, to cultivate my mind, focus my attention towards Dharma, practice Dharma activities, encourage Dharma in the minds of others by example and sharing. In the presence of the teacher or the pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all the Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, I now wear my uniform, has some strands in my hair, cut as the remainder of my sacred vows as an ordained Buddhist pastor. Please come up. In the presence of my teacher or pastor, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all the Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, I will join confessionals monthly to renew my pastor vows, to remember any downfalls, and be blessed to remember my sacred oath. In the presence of my teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors, I will join confessionals monthly to renew my pastor vows, remember any downfalls, to be blessed to remember my sacred oath. Yeah. Page 59. In the presence of my teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, Lord Tsongkhapa, all Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Sravakats, Pratikayas, Dakas, Dakinis, and all Dharma protectors, I vow to be generous, unattached, to live life serving others, our center, and members in general community. I will respect the government and laws of my country and be honest, law-abiding citizens. During these degenerate times where materialism, greed, and self-indulgence have become priorities. During these degenerate times where materialism, greed, and self-indulgence have become priorities. During these degenerate times where materialism, greed, and self-indulgence have become priorities, I vow to work towards the elimination of these within my mind, and I rejoice in my great fortune to be able to take on the vows of a lay pastor, to repay the kindness of my teacher in the 3 jewels, and I will uphold my vows, purify what is necessary, intensify my practice and transformation, and bring Dharma to others out of seeing their need and suffering. I will bring the perfect teaching of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha to beings of the 10 directions, especially sharing the path of mind transformation to those who are fortunate. To those who are ready, I will share the higher tantras as quick methods to expedite enlightenment within 14 lifetimes. O Je Tsongkhapa, Master of the 3 worlds, who surpass all others in compassion, to the eye through whom all beings can receive ultimate vision, peerless refuge and liberation seekers. To you, a supreme incomparable Lama, I offer my spiritual inspiration. In the very presence of the victorious one, you enter the ways of enlightenment. Here in this land of snow mountains, you were renowned as Losang Chokpa. Now in the pure land, Tushita, you abide. Famed as the wisdom essence, to you, mightiest of bodhisattvas, I offer my spiritual aspirations. By the force of ripening merits, you read the teachings and without study understood text, even the language of mystics. To you, all naturally perfect excellence, I offer my spiritual aspirations. From the time your sun-like body slipped radiantly from your mother's cloud, You ever shun the dancing lights of the world and its vain fortunes. To you I offer my spiritual aspirations. From very youth you held no distaste toward the austerities of Buddha Dharma, but secured yourself in perfect discipline. To you who for countless lifetimes knew the power of familiarity with meditation, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Having unrelentingly examined in depth the words and meanings of the Buddha's teachings, constantly with spontaneity you practice the guidelines discovered therein. To you who treasure your vast knowledge, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Not satisfied with strings of empty words, with subtle reason you fathom the point, not perceived by millions of scholars. To you who beheld reality itself, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Were all logicians to analyze your teachings 100 times, not even a fraction of teaching, not even a fraction's fraction of your words would prove wrong. To you, a flawless mind, I offer my spiritual aspirations. But who you have seen as they are the concepts contained in the text of the ancient masters. To you in whom all these teachings arose as perfect advice, I offer my spiritual aspirations. When the dust cloth, the earth is inscribed by your lotus feet, which we always rest on the crown of sages, that thus becomes an object well worthy of worship by men. To you I offer my spiritual aspirations. Although a fully omniscient one were to challenge your ethical temper, not a hint of flaw could ever be discovered. To you, a perfect renunciate, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Like an ocean of wish-fulfilling gems is the innumerable depths of your love. Beyond even the bounds of clairvoyance, to you, mind of benevolence, I offer my spiritual aspirations. What load of benefit to beings is not carried by your mind so mighty? For did you not reach the zenith of deeds sending endless waves? To you of miraculous compassion I offer my spiritual aspirations. In each breath you release, act as medicine as to beings, which try to describe the effects of your stores of merit and wisdom. To you, friend of the three worlds, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, daily appear directly to you, and rain ambrosial streams of nectar, the synthesis of the minds of the Buddhas, past, present, and future. To you I offer my spiritual aspirations. In the lotus garden of Muni's teachings, you are likened to the sun among Buddhas. With these very words, Maitreya Buddha praised you when a vision he appeared. To you I offer my spiritual aspirations. Beholding the sublime form of the countless Buddhas, you directly receive the transforming powers of Saraha, Luipa, and other Mahasiddhas. To you, a supreme perfected being, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Having in a dream been given the blessings of Nagarjuna, Ayurveda, Buddha, Palita, Chandrakirti, experienced the very Dharma, profound emptiness arose within you. To you who has abandoned even an imprint of confusion, I offer my spiritual aspirations. With a subtle meditation and samadhi centered upon reality itself, clear like the sky, you moved not for a moment even in post-meditation. From viewing mind as illusory, to you I offer my spiritual aspirations. Having mastered the ocean of Tantras, pinnacle of all Buddha's teachings, you indeed are a perfect Lama, inseparable from the all-pervading Vajradhara. To you I offer my spiritual aspirations. Master who practice exactly as taught, the essential profundities of Tantra's 2 stages. The ultimate path is never before shown by another in this land. And then accomplish their purpose, I offer my spiritual aspirations. By perfecting the coarse and subtle deity yogas, you eliminate the habitual thought patterns that conceive existence as profane. To you, whose mind never stirs from the blissful flow of mystic mandalas, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Coasting in the central nadi of the current of air, you perceive the quintessence of emptiness, the clear light itself, Mahamudra. Experience the summit of great bliss. To you, the one of Vajra mind, I offer my spiritual aspirations. Due to the force of your infinite prayers, countless disciples spontaneously were drawn to the path that pleases all the Buddhas. To you, refuge of the world, I offer my spiritual aspirations. In the era when nothing but the empty name of doctrine was upheld by teachers and trainees, you brought into light the 3 higher trainings. To you, the great reviver, I offer my spiritual aspirations. When you determined consciously to pass away hosts of dakas and dakinis beyond imagination, making offerings filling the sky, to you I offer my spiritual aspirations. Mind focused on the clear light of Dharmakaya, your body transformed into the luminous sphere. In a bardo, illusory body yoga, fulfill Sambhogakaya. To you who gain supreme siddhi, I offer my spiritual aspirations. From this moment onward in all future lives, may I sit before your lotus feet and hearing your teachings practice as delights you. May I be blessed to abandon both viewing as life as something to crave and yearning for happiness for myself alone. And may I never abandon the body mind, the wish to achieve full Buddhahood for all. May I be blessed to abandon both viewing this life as something to crave and yearning for happiness for myself alone. May I be blessed to abandon both viewing this life as something to crave and yearning for happiness for myself alone. May I never abandon the body mind. I wish to attain Buddhahood for all. May clear wisdom focusing on the subtle, may I fathom the perfect words of the Buddha, may I ascend the path of knowledge, may I arise to dispel the darkness of ignorance pervading beings' minds. May I have the power to discover the import of the many tantras and to practice single-pointedly the profound significance of the 2 stages. Unhindered by inner and outer obstacles, in brief, may I receive grace to understand all the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni. Especially those of the peerless Vajrayana, and just as the awakened ones, thus may I bring light to the world. By the virtue of this aspiration, may in all future lives never be parted from you, O perfect Lama, and may I dwell with the taste of teachings and those arose in the depths of your experience. Because of whatever goodness I have done or will do, may you gaze upon me with pleasure. May I always unwaveringly practice in accordance with your advice. And by the power of the deeds of the Lama Tsongkhapa, the Tantric Guru, until enlightenment, may I never fall from the good path praised by all the Buddhas. In all my lives, I have never been parted from the perfect masters to enjoy the glory of Dharma, perfect realizations of the paths of stages, and masterfully gain the state of Vajradhara. Think at this moment you have received your vows. I've done it condensed, without having to read long prayers. Reading long prayers without practicing, without transforming our mind, is just a waste of time. It's empty gesture. So I've condensed it. Think at this moment you've received your pastor vows. Most important as a pastor, what we should do is this, is to abandon activities that benefit ourselves, that think about ourselves, that want things for ourselves, that always wish to protect ourselves, and to adopt activities that benefit others, whether in speech, body, mind, to adopt activities that will benefit others, that will bring others freedom from pain. The main practice of a pastor, a main practice of a spiritual teacher is to do these actions. The main objective of a student is to eradicate self-cherishing mind. If we are a student of a teacher and we do not eradicate our self-cherishing mind, because of our self-cherishing mind, we will create problems for our teacher, we'll create problems for our brothers and sisters, we'll create problems for others. So the main objective of a Dharma student is to eradicate the self-cherishing mind. The main objective of a Dharma teacher is to eradicate the sufferings of others. So if we think about this as the essence of Dharma, then we'll be able to hold our vows very well. So you should think like this and meditate for a few seconds and think, I have received the pastor vows and I will strive to be a benefit to others. You should think like that very strongly. Okay, good. Think like that. Okay, what's next? Okay, who's taking refuge? Okay. Those of you taking refuge, think like this. This is the visualization you should do. I am a Buddhist. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. And then when we take these vows by reciting these words, after we've taken these vows, if after our vows and before our vows we act exactly the same, then the Buddha's blessings hasn't entered our mind. Before taking our vows, after taking our vows, we have to see a consistent difference. if there's no consistent difference in our behavior, in our speech, in our mind, in our selfishness, then we have not taken refuge. We have to think very carefully. Why am I taking refuge? Why am I becoming a Buddhist? Why am I adopting the Buddhist teachings? We have to think very carefully. The reason I wish to adopt the Buddhist teachings, the reason I wish to take refuge is because I recognize I need some medicine. I need some help. I need some assistance. I need some doctrine. I need some wisdom. With this wisdom, with this doctrine, then I am able to apply it to my mind and see a transformation in my mind. So when we take refuge, the objective of taking refuge is not to get better luck, not to get money, not to get name, or not to get fame. The objective of taking refuge in the Buddha is we recognize that the Buddha is free of all faults. The Buddha is free of all suffering. The Buddha is free of all traces of any type of ignorance. A Buddha is someone who is completely free from ignorance, free from suffering, free from any type of afflictive emotions, emotions that bring them suffering. So therefore, when we see this in the Buddha, we look in the world and we say to ourselves, who has these qualities? Who among us have the qualities that's free from suffering, free from afflictions, free from difficulties, free from pain? Who has these qualities? When we look very carefully, we realize that no one in the world has these qualities. If we take refuge in music, when the music ends, the suffering starts. If we take refuge in a wife, the wife will die, the wife will get old, we'll argue with our wife, we don't feel happy with our wife, or we find a new wife. So if we take refuge in a wife, in the end, the wife doesn't bring us happiness. Then for some of us, we take refuge in a husband. One day we take refuge in a husband, the husband will die, the husband will get old, the husband will become unhappy with us, we have arguments, then the happiness ends. If we take refuge in money, when we have money, we are suffering. Why? We want to get more money. When we get more money, there's no limit. We want to get more and more and more and more and more money. So when we think about it, when we take refuge in money, money doesn't bring us happiness. A wife doesn't bring us happiness. A husband doesn't bring us happiness. Material things doesn't bring us happiness. None of these things ever bring us happiness. Therefore, if I look at who can bring me happiness, it is only a perfected Buddha. Only a Buddha can bring me happiness. Since a Buddha can bring me happiness, I take refuge in a Buddha. What does taking refuge in a Buddha mean? Taking refuge in a Buddha means to surrender to a Buddha. Surrender what? Surrender one's money, one's name, one's fame? Not actually. When we take refuge in the Buddha, we are surrendering our methods to achieve happiness. We are surrendering our wrong views and wrong projections to achieve happiness. So when we take refuge in the Buddha, we are surrendering the wrong methods that bring us unhappiness. Therefore, we take refuge in the Buddha. What the Buddha teaches us, the method Buddha teaches us, what Buddha shares with us is called Dharma. When we listen to what Buddha teaches us, when we listen to what Buddha shares with us, and when we adopt it, and we see our mind change and transform, this transformation is the actual Dharma. If we continue with our lives, making offerings to the Buddha, building temples, prostrations, reciting mantras, doing some prayers, doing some meditations, if we continue doing this, we have to check, has our mind changed? Has our mind transformed? What are we looking for in transformation of the mind? What are we looking for? We are looking for less selfish, less attached. Are we still attached to our husband? Are we still attached to our wives? Are we still attached to money and fame and name? Are we still attached to pleasures? Are we still attached to all these things that bring us no meaning? If we are still attached, then we have not made any progress in our spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is not abandoning people or things that we love. Spiritual practice is to understand their true nature. Their true nature is they don't bring us happiness. Therefore, when we think like that and we meditate like that strongly, our mind starts to transform. Our attachments become less. When our attachments become less, and we see that we can focus less on our attachments, then the suffering becomes less. When the suffering becomes less, that is Dharma. That's in short form. So therefore, when we take refuge in the Buddha, we take refuge in the Dharma, we take refuge in the Buddha because the Buddha is the only being that is free from suffering, free from unhappiness, free from any type of causes for suffering. So he is a perfect being. She is a perfect being we take refuge in. Kuan Yin, Shakyamuni, Tsongkhapa, these are all wonderful. Then the Dharma is what the Buddha has taught. When we take refuge in the Dharma, it's not simply taking a Dharma text and putting it to our head. It's not simply saying, I respect the Dharma. When we take refuge in the Dharma, taking refuge in the Dharma means transformation. So you have to check into your mind. From the time you took refuge until now, how much have you transformed? How much have you changed? Or have you gone backwards? You have to check yourself and think. If you have gone backwards, then you break all the commitments you promised and swore to your Lama. Everything that you've promised to your Lama, all your refuge vows, all your refuge commitments you've sworn, has been broken. So we have to think like that very strongly. Okay? So taking refuge is very simple. From today on, you should think after this, I am a Buddhist. I accept the Buddhist path. I accept the Buddha's teachings. I accept the Buddha's thoughts. I accept all the way. You should think like that very strongly. Okay? Do not think that this place is an ordinary place. Visualize the teacher giving you refuge as Shakyamuni Buddha. Visualize this place as Bodh Gaya. Then visualize your mother on your left, your father on your right, your enemies and people who have harmed you in your front, in front of you, and all sentient beings behind you. You should think like that very strongly and repeat the words after me. Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. You should think at this point, I've received my refuge vows, I've received my refuge, and from this point on, I am a Buddhist. I will practice the Buddhist teachings. I'll do my best to attain the Buddha's teachings. What is the Buddha's teachings? To become not selfish. The core of Buddha's teachings is not to become selfish and not to harm others. This is the core of Buddha's teachings. You should think like that very strongly. Deni rindu pala choni ne kaza yang ba ga jing sang ba de lo me ma ren ke dun zhawa nu nam je ke wa wang bu da ju ji de ma so me zera gong zhe yang ja ben yang ge zhe wei zhe zhen de den be ri ba gong zhen lang ge zhe ni ne zhe ben ge ne ni je shu rang ge ji zhe be lang ge ne shu zha zhe be zhang wei za ge zhe be ye ge me be se je ne ge wei den be yu rin zhen ju ji den be rin jin ju ge ma kian ba Kya kya ka nam ba ge we chude ni ni je jin yu yi ra kyu be yi ben de je yu sa we cha be sho se je ge we me rin chen len ge li zhi zhang ju lang ge rin ba kya zhang ju ta zhi nang ge ye la pa jin xin ge wa ze be rin du gyun gu chi lang zang zhi jin yi zin zhi jin ji ge jin se le mi da mi ma gun ce ra gun zhi ge we nga ba yi nam da lang da zha wa ma zhi ji gang ge je be chu le ju 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 jin ju be zhe ba di zu jun de nang ge ju jin ju jin chi zha xi jiao zu ju gu jiao gu ji 大所今天上比干完的，长大之后，共同干巴当，结巴结送罗上招巴一，但比莫林的沙些小，将就是叫人不接，马前把人几个几，前把那帮白帮羊，过年白话，东尼东往的不接，马前把人几个几，前把那白帮羊，过年白话说，干完的，女的大拉马上前这个年，这我几个马老巴的，沙拉过巴说，几家把中华巴，几那么白话啦，经济先往当，经济马龙张王说，大当精神就是当这边做你拉点的，结果罗上招巴一。 电把有点把日记。Good. Think you have taken refuge? Next. Then we're done, isn't it? Okay. Today I don't have a specific teaching, and the reason I don't have a specific teaching is I've taught. Now it's time for the students to practice. If I teach and teach and teach, and the students don't practice, there's nothing to teach, nothing left. I have not taught anything that's not, I don't think that in the last 20 years, I've not taught anything that you have not heard. So today I'll open the floor for questions. Perhaps through the questions, then we can have some interesting interaction. Today I'll make it a little different and rather than just teaching. Any questions, please? If we don't have any questions, then we'll be done for the day.
In the Heart Sutra, Mahaprajna Paramita, in the sutra that mentioned about the practicing of emptiness. May I know what's the meaning of emptiness in Buddhism? Thank you.
When Lord Buddha on Vulture's Peak near Bodh Gaya taught about emptiness. The emptiness of existence does not mean that existence or things that exist are empty. What he means exactly is the way we perceive their existence is empty. Meaning, if we have a wife, we'll be very happy. If we have a lot of money, we'll be very happy. If we have a lot of cars, we'll be very happy. If we have a lot of business, we'll be very happy. If we have a large status, we have a big name, we have a big company, we'll be very happy. So when we think these things, actually when we think about it very carefully, when we have more status, it's harder for us to be humble. When we have more status, it's harder for us to reach down to other people because we think we're someone. So therefore, in fact, instead of having happiness from status, instead of having happiness from money, instead of having happiness from materialism, we have unhappiness. The unhappiness increases due to our materialism. So the happiness that we think we will achieve from material things is empty of existence. So the existence is not of an item. The existence that doesn't exist is our perception or what we think that object will bring. Hence, when Lord Buddha says that all things are empty of existence, it does not mean that things do not exist. It means that the way it exists and our relationship with this is empty of existence. Meaning, our perception and our projection of how these things exist to us, to bring us happiness, is empty. So empty, you can use another word. It means it doesn't exist in the way we perceive. It doesn't exist in the way we think. Therefore, when Lord Buddha mentions it is empty of existence, it is empty of how we perceive it to exist, it actually means that what we see does exist, but the way it exists in our relationship with it is empty or is not real. Is that all right? Good. Questions?
Kachara Forest Retreat has a fantastic building called Kachara World Peace Hall. What is your vision, or what are your objectives for the Kachara World Peace Hall in Kachara Forest Retreat?
My objective of starting a Dharma center has not been fulfilled. My objective of starting a Dharma institution has not been fulfilled. My objective of having Dharma students is not fulfilled. So if you were to ask me, what is my purpose of opening a Dharma institution? If you were to ask me the purpose of why I'm opening a Kachara Forest Retreat, it is the same reason I opened up Kachara House. The reason I opened up Kachara House was not to gain money, was not to gain fame, not to gain prestige, not to make myself well known. That is not my purpose of opening up a Dharma center. My purpose of opening up a Dharma center is that I can share Buddha's teachings with interested people, and that they would learn and become people whose minds transform become honorable, have integrity, become generous, become kind, become giving, become forthright. So my purpose of opening up Kichara House or Dharma Center is to provide a place where people can receive the true teachings of the Buddha and transform their minds. That is my purpose. It will be my same purpose of opening up Kichara Forest Retreat, is to have a place where people can come to, learn the Dharma, and transform. So to open up Kichara Forest Retreat, I have no intention for fame, or to acquire something, or to gain something. Personally speaking, if I can have my personal wish, if I can have a birthday wish, it would be to retire from teaching. If I can have my birthday wish today and I can only have one wish, is to retire from teaching, retire from fundraising, retiring from the responsibility of having students. That would be my fondest and closest wish to my heart. And afterwards, I would definitely go to either Nepal or North India, or maybe even North California, and acquire a small house, and I will go into meditation for the rest of my life. I will go into forest meditation, intense meditation for the rest of my life. If I have my birthday wish, it would be this. This is all I've ever wished for. This is all I've ever wanted. So in actuality, to open up Kichara Forest Retreat is opening up a personal place of suffering for myself. Why is that? It will be more responsibility, more work, more fundraising, more talking, more convincing, more schedules, more people, more pressures that actually doesn't lead me anywhere. So therefore, the purpose of opening a Kichara House, my motivation 10 years ago is very simple. It's a place I can confer and convey the Buddha's teachings. Straightforward, clear, honestly. And hopefully, someone in the audience will listen to it, and their minds will transform and become different people. But so far, this has not been accomplished. So therefore, for me to open up Kichara Forest Retreat, honestly speaking, will be 100% pure suffering for me. Pure unhappiness for me. Pure pain for me. The building process will be very painful. The fundraising will be very painful. And then after it's built, sitting on a throne in front of hundreds of people will be very painful. Why? Teaching Dharma to people who want to learn Dharma is pleasure. Teaching Dharma to people who take Dharma as nice words would not benefit anyone, myself or anyone else. So to open up Kichara Forest Retreat, honestly speaking, I'm frightened. I'm scared. And I'm totally scared. Why? It's just another big building. But if people come and they listen to the Buddha's teachings and their minds change and they become more harmonious in their families, they gain integrity, they become kinder, they become more generous, they become more compassionate, then I will be very, very happy. Then teaching would be a pleasure. Then meeting people would be a pleasure. So my purpose of opening Kichara Forest Retreat is simple. Is to convey the teachings of compassion to others. And hopefully other people will learn it and transform. Otherwise, if the teacher teaches, the student doesn't transform, it wastes the student's time and it wastes the teacher's time. That's why if I can have my birthday wish, it would be in North India, in a small house, no students, no fundraising, no contractors, no one. And I will close my doors and I'll enter into meditation. I would be most happy if that could happen. And to keep my monk vows very pure, and to develop all the qualities that Buddha taught us. That's what I would like to do. But unfortunately, I don't ever get my birthday wish. So I'm here. So Kichara Forest Retreat will be a place, hopefully, that people, their minds will transform. If it's not, then the money, the time, the energy will be wasted. To say I'm a Christian, to say I'm a Buddhist, to say I belong to a church, to say I belong to a temple, but your minds don't transform, it has no meaning. No meaning at all. Questions? Questions? Yes?
Rinpoche, can you please explain to us about the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and how it relates to Manjushri, the Buddha of wisdom? Thank you.
Why do you think it will relate to Manjushri?
Because both the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are different perspectives or different personifications of wisdom. And Manjushri is also known as the Bodhisattva of wisdom.
Let's have a little debate. Who do you think has more wisdom, Kuan Yin or Manjushri? I'm going to do my best to embarrass you.
Okay. I feel that they're both referring or teaching or representing different personifications of the same thing. Wisdom and compassion.
Okay, you're not answering my question. You're going round and round. Who do you think has more wisdom, Manjushri or Kuan Yin?
Neither.
Oh.
Both have the same amount of wisdom.
So they both have to go back to school, is it?
What I mean, in other words, that they are both wise in their own ways, have I answered?
They're wise in their own ways. Who's more wiser? Take a lucky guess.
Manjushri.
So Manjushri is smarter than Kuan Yin, is it?
Yes. No, I don't have to say.
I see. Okay, another question. Who's smarter? Vajrapani or Kuan Yin?
Vajrapani is... I would think Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin smarter than Vajrapani. Okay. Okay, who's more smarter? Shakyamuni or Kuan Yin?
Shakyamuni.
All right. Who's smarter? Shakyamuni or Amitabha?
Amitabha came first, so Amitabha.
Who's smarter? Amitabha or Green Tara?
Green Tara, because she's very swift.
I see. Thank goodness you don't run Kichara House. Now, your question's very good. I want to ask you back because there's a reason for it.
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche.
You're welcome. Ignorance. Jealousy. Desire. Anger. Can be purified. When these qualities are purified, they take on a personification of a Buddha. For example, they take on a personification of a Buddha. When we have a lot of desire, when it's purified, it takes on the quality of Amitabha. So Amitabha Buddha is our desire mind purified. When we have a lot of jealousy, the jealousy purified, this purification takes on a personification of Amoghasiddhi. Likewise, each of our emotions that fetter us or bring us down and that hold us towards our personal sufferings is personified by one of these 5 Dhyani Buddhas. So when we do the practice of these 5 Dhyani Buddhas, or we engage in the meditation of these 5 Dhyani Buddhas, they are designed to counter a specific emotion that is very strong in us. For example, if our desire is very strong, it would be very good for us to enter into Amitabha practice. If our jealousy is very strong, it would be very good for us to enter into Amoghasiddhi practice. If our ignorance is very strong, it is very good for us to engage into the practice of, for example, Akshobhya, and so on and so on. How the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are related to Manjushri is simple. All Buddhas' wisdom, understanding, perception are the same. All are the same. Once we label them a Buddha, there is not one Buddha smarter than the other. There's not one Buddha less smarter than another. There's not one Buddha who's got wisdom this way and doesn't have wisdom that way. Once we become a Buddha, a label is given to a being who is a Buddha, their perception and their omniscience and their wisdom becomes totally the same. Alright, so to say one Buddha is smarter than the other contradicts the very label of Buddhahood. Contradict. I threw that back at you because I just wanted to help you to think more. It wasn't to embarrass you, it was to help you to think more. So therefore, Manjushri, Vajrapani, Tara, Shakyamuni, Amitabha, all their wisdom is equal. There is no difference in their wisdom. Whatever you ask Tara, that she knows, Amitabha will know. Whatever you ask Amitabha, Shakyamuni will know. Whatever you ask Manjushri, all of them will know. Now, because the Buddha's body is not caught in a specific type of form, and also it can become formless, a Buddha is able to change its form and manifest in another form. So when you take all the Buddha's wisdom and you combine it into a physical, tangible form, it becomes Manjushri Buddha. So Manjushri Buddha is an actual student of Shakyamuni, but in its definitive form, its ultimate form, Wensuposa or Manjushri, is the wisdom of all Buddhas. So when you tap into Manjushri's energy, you tap into the wisdom of all the Buddhas. Tara's energy is all the Buddhas' swiftness. Kuan Yin's energy is all the Buddha's compassion. That doesn't mean Kuan Yin has more compassion than Manjushri. That doesn't mean Kuan Yin has more compassion than Tara. It just means she is the representative of great compassion. It doesn't mean she has more. So Manjushri is the representative wisdom. So the Dhyani Buddhas are connected to all the other Bodhisattvas because they have each other's qualities. There's no differentiation. You understand? Now, you don't have to do the Dhyani Buddha's practice separately. If you do the higher tantric teachings, such as Vajrayogini, the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are included. If you do Yamataka, Hiruka, Guhya Samaja, Kala Chakra teachings, the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are automatically included. When you do any of these practices, you will be doing the 5 Dhyani Buddhas teaching practice every single day automatically. So it's not a separate practice, it's inclusive. Why? The 5 Dhyani Buddhas are all qualities of other Buddhas. Understand? That's a good question. Questions?
Thank you very much, Rinpoche. But as you are the most likely man in this entire room to go to the Pure Land, what would your prayer be?
A, not everybody will be going to a Pure Land. B, not everybody speaks the same language. So it'll be very difficult to give one prayer to everyone. D, A, B, C, D. Okay, A, B, C. Now let's do C. If during our lifetime we have not transformed our minds, we have not collected a lot of merit, then at the time of death, simply chanting a prayer or name will not take us to a better place. Why is that? It's like committing a lifetime of crime, then going to the judge and saying, I'm sorry, but can I not go to jail? So therefore, at the time of death, if you're asking for a certain prayer to chant so you can go to a pure land, I don't have one. Because it's a lifelong practice. Now, if you want something to chant at the time of death, whatever religion you are, if you're a Christian, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Buddhist, if you're a Sikh, if you're a Muslim, keep your mind calm. Keep your mind free. Let go of your family, let go of your possessions, let go of the people and the material possessions you have. Let go completely. If we don't let go, it will be very hard for us to leave our body. So at the time of death, we should let go of our friends, our attachment, and everything around us, and focus on a clear light, and recite the prayer that we're most familiar with, that we find most comforting, that we've been doing. And then when we do that, and our consciousness leaves our body, then we can go to a good place. Why is that? To go to a good place, you don't need to be a Buddhist. You don't need to be a Catholic. You don't need to be a certain religion to go to a good place. If a religion tells you, only my way is the only way, only my way or the highway, then take the highway. Why? How can only one religion offer the only way for everyone? If we are to think that one religion offers the only way for everyone, that would mean that the divine cannot manifest in many ways. So therefore, if we are a good Christian, if we're a good Catholic, keep our mind at peace and let go. And do a good Catholic prayer. If we're a Buddhist, we can recite a Buddhist prayer. And then within Buddhism, we have many forms of Buddhism. Whatever prayer we are used to, Namo Amitofo, Om Mani Padme Hum, Namo Buddhaya, it doesn't really matter. What is important is to keep our mind still. Let me explain why. At the time of death, Chame ki Sheba, Raka ki Sheba, Chama ki Sheba, the Raka ki Sheba Sena, Chame ki Sheba Sena, subtle mind. Raka ki Sheba Sena, gross mind. Gross mind is our eyes, our ears, our nose, our taste, our feeling, our touch. That's the gross. Raka Shebas. This one is connected to our subtle mind. Chame ki Sheba. The subtle mind abides here. So when we die, the eyes go, the ears go, the feeling go. But it doesn't mean we're dead yet. We can still be inside. For this mind to leave our body, we need to be in a very peaceful state of mind, a state of mind that doesn't hold us here, a state of mind that doesn't keep us here. If we're in a state of mind that keeps us here and keeps us unhappy or unsettled, we can get stuck. And in some places, some instances, we can become a spirit. We can take a rebirth as a spirit that resides in that very place and stays there. I think most Malaysians are afraid of ghosts. That's how people become ghosts. They cannot let go. Hong Kong's famous for ghosts. Very famous. So what happens is, why do we keep our mind calm? We keep our mind calm not to God or to Buddha or to some deity. God and a Buddha and a deity at that moment is not as relevant as keeping our mind calm. If we keep our mind calm and we think positive thoughts, especially virtuous thoughts, it will help us to take a good rebirth. So as we're dying, whatever prayer we recite is not so much which prayer is correct. At the time of death, which prayer we recite is to calm our minds so that we can leave our body in a peaceful manner. So therefore, I always stick to my lifelong principle. Never criticize other religions. Never say that one religion is bad, or this religion is better, or my religion is worse, or yours is better. Never say things like that. When we say things like that on an external level, we create war. On an internal level, when the person's dying, you say, oh, you have to believe in the Vajra. The other guy say, you have to believe in the clock. So when you're dying, which one do I pray to? I'm confused. The guy is dying. His eyes are already closing. He can hardly see. You say, believe this is better. Then the other relatives say, believe this, believe this, believe this. And there's a priest there, there's a monk there, there's a rabbi there, and they all, which you actually become a ghost already. You see, the purpose of religion is not to confuse the person more. The purpose of religion is to give the person wisdom, tolerance, compassion, kindness. And in deeper religion, when we practice religion deeper, this is the result. We're able to exchange our happiness for other people's suffering. Meaning, we can give up our comfort zones. We can give up our selfish attitudes. We can give up our selfish aspirations to achieve the aspirations of others. This is true religion. So if you get a true Christian, a true Buddhist, a true Muslim, a true Hindu into one room, they will get along very well. Do you know why? Because they'll be tolerant, they'll be kind, they'll be compassionate, they'll be giving, they'll be loving, and they will never fight. A true Hindu would never fight. A true Hindu always thinks of peace and ahimsa. I lived in India for many years, I know. And in India, I have very good Muslim friends. Very, very good Muslim friends. Very close to me. My point? So therefore, at the time of death, what should we recite is not so important as attitude. And the attitude is to let go, to know that our life has come to an end, and to think of what makes us comfortable. If we have been praying to God, think about God. If we have been praying to Jesus, think about Jesus. If we've been praying to Tara, Tsongkhapa, Buddha, we think about them. Why? When we think about them, they will give us the peace that we need, and the mind will calm down. And when the mind comes down, then you can leave. And then there are 3 ways of leaving. Now listen very carefully. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, one way of leaving is from here up. The second way of leaving is from here to here. And the third way of leaving is from your hip down. Let me see. Let Brian come here. I need someone tall. 3 ways of leaving the body, your consciousness. From here up. That's 1. From here to here, 2. From here down, 3. When our mind leaves our body through from here up, we will take a good rebirth in a higher forms of existence, such as men or gods, humans or gods. When we leave from here to here, we take rebirth in animal realms or lower forms of humans. When we leave from here, below, when we leave, we take rebirth either as a ghost, as an animal, a lower form of animal, a suffering animal, or in one of the hells. So Buddha has taught the 6 realms. The 6 realms. Within the 6 realms, there are 6 places we can take rebirth. How we leave our body is how we will take rebirth. how we leave our body and from what area we leave our body will be dependent on the state of our mind. So if you know someone that is Christian, that is dying, instead of saying, let me save you, accept Buddha, accept the Dharma, accept the Sangha, that is the only way. Their whole life they're praying to Christianity, then you say that to them, you make them upset, and they leave through the bottom part. Actually, you're not helping them. You're not helping them. So if they're a Christian their whole life, you say, please think of Jesus. Think Jesus is receiving you. Then when their mind is calm, they leave through this place and they take a good rebirth. Whether they think of Jesus or Buddha or God or whatever, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the mind needs to be calm. So if you're a real spiritual practitioner, you're not concerned what religion they are. You're concerned whether they leave in a peaceful state of mind. So what prayer is it to recite at the time of death? Is whatever prayer you are comfortable with. It's impossible. There's one prayer for everyone. Impossible. So I stick to this theory for my whole life. One prayer. But which prayer is right for you is your affinity. If you find Buddhism your affinity and you do Buddhist prayers, in the time of death you do Buddhist prayers. That's good for you. It's your own affinity. This one no one can tell you, no one can judge. All right, very good question. Yeah. Question?
Thank you very much, Rinpoche. But as you are the most likely man in this entire room to go to the Pure Land, what would your prayer be?
Tuvajugini. Tuvajugini. I'll immediately do the prayers to Vajragini.
Thank you.
And if I ever can get to a Pure Land, I'll come back and let you know. But thank you all the same. Questions?
Rinpoche, if you were to be granted your birthday wish and you're in your little house in deep meditation, I will presume that you'll be most happy. That's my presumption. For us as a layman, striving to achieve the same thing that you want to do, would we be happy too?
Say again, the last part.
Just for us, maybe that was for you. As a layman, if you strive to achieve the same thing in learning to be alone and or deep meditation, would we actually achieve happiness at the end?
Oh, it's a very good question. You see, me wanting to be alone is not to want to be alone. Me wanting to be in a small house and not have students and centers is not that I just don't want to have a center or responsibilities. Responsibilities with results is fulfilling. Responsibility with very little results or slow results or no results is not fulfilling. So therefore, to be in a small house and quiet is not to be alone, it's more to have the concentration and the time to actually do the meditations. That's one. Secondly, the meditations that I am talking about is Buddha's teachings. So if anyone, layman, east and west, black or white, old or young, male or female, meditates on these teachings, definitely they will gain happiness. Why will they gain happiness? Because these teachings are not for monks. These teachings are for all sentient beings. They're for all humankind. They are for everyone who has any sort of suffering and they want the sufferings to be relieved. So to be in a quiet place to meditate, to practice, to do Dharma is not my wish to just be alone or my wish to have tranquility. My goal is not tranquility or aloneness. My goal is Buddhahood, to become a Buddha, to gain enlightenment. So to gain enlightenment, it will be more helpful if we follow Buddha's life. If we check Buddha Shakyamuni's life, he left the palace. He left his wife. He left his position. He's a prince. He left his town and he went into the forest to meditate. Why did he go to the forest to meditate? So he will be free from the distractions of life to focus 100% on meditation to gain the goal. So therefore, my wish is not so much to just be alone for the sake of being alone. Because I can get lonely too. Not very often, but sometimes. My wish to be alone is not a matter of wanting to be alone. I find fundraising, building, having students, teaching Dharma, I find that is beneficial, but not as beneficial as if I go into meditation and excel in my practice and become a Buddha. As an ordinary monk teaching, there's some benefit. But if I can become a Buddha and teach, the benefit will be even more. So therefore, for me to go into meditation to practice is not so much escape. It is more to intensify my practice. Whereas when I have to raise funds, deal with lay people, students, permits, licenses, contractors, building, is not what a monk should be doing. It is not what a monk should be doing at all. So therefore, for me, I became a monk not to build. If I want to build, I'll be a developer. I became a monk to practice. So since arriving in Malaysia, my time for meditation is this much. Fundraising is this much. Talking is this much. Meeting people is this much. But the result is this. So if I meditate, the result will be this. That's how I think. So to answer your question, yes, if a lay person goes and does the meditation and solitude, it will definitely have benefit. Because Buddha's teaching is for everyone. It's not just for monk. It's not just for me. It's for everyone. And if anyone or anybody cuts the time away from wasting time and really go to meditate and practice, then you will achieve nirvana. And with nirvana, no more suffering. Then you can teach others the same path, just like what Lord Buddha did. That's why I would like to go to the mountains. Okay? Nice question, thank you. Questions?
我知道说，佛教的教导是要教导我们，仁波切的教导是说，其实所有的宗教都是平等的。那在这当中，就是在某种程度上，我们都是要借由这个宗教的教导去成为一个更好的人。可是目前我的理解是，跟其他宗教不一样的是，佛教有教导我们最终的目的是要成佛 ，become a Buddha。那其他宗教没有讲到说 how to become a Buddha or something like that。那这个代表说，如果我们是其他宗教的信徒，我就没有这个机会走到那一步吗？
All religions are equal, but for example, Buddhism, it teaches us how Buddhists to practice to become Buddhahood. But other religion actually didn't say anything about achieving Buddhahood. So how do we kind of explain that with other religion? Does it mean that it's equal with other religion?
Tell that easy answer.
是很容易解决回答的一个问题。
When a Buddha manifests, for you, he can manifest as a Buddhist. For this one, Buddha can manifest as a Christian. For this one, Buddha can manifest as a Hindu. And according to your karma, teach you the tenets of that religion to be a better person. When you become a better person and you collect better karma, automatically you will go toward nirvana. Nirvana is the elimination of negative mind and suffering. So any religion can lead you to the elimination of suffering if you practice it correctly. So therefore, if you practice this religion, or this religion, or this religion, outwardly it looks different. Outwardly. But when you practice this religion, from here you can take rebirth into another level, into another level, into another level, and higher practice. So what you see is just the front, not the whole picture.
所以人们就说，像这样子，就是当佛陀跟你说话的时候，他可以跟你视现成不同的人、不同的这个外表。比如说，如果你是信奉这个基督教的话，他就视现成为一个基督徒来跟你说话；如果你是一个新都教徒的话，他就视现成为一个新都教徒来跟你说话。就是无论他是视现什么样的外表也好，这个最终目的呢，就是他能教你一个法，让你呢从你这个现在的这个修行层次呢，再带往另外一个更高的层次，最终呢达到一个证悟的一个境界。所以呢，这个外表如何视现呢？其实不只是，就是说不只是佛教徒有佛陀而已，其实也就跟照你的根基，你这个就是你的外表，就是外表，然后他视现给你适应你的这个外表，然后来跟你说这个法，让你能够从那边呢不断的增长，不断的就是修行，成为到更高的境界。所以呢，这个所谓的这个佛教和佛陀呢，它只是一个外表的一个标签，其他的宗教呢也可以达到同样的境界，可能就是佛陀呢视现成另外一个宗教的人来跟你说话而已。仁波切的回答是这样子。
For example,
比如说
Mother Teresa is not a Buddhist,
特丽莎修女不是一个佛教徒，
but she spent her whole life to take care of others.
可是呢，她奉献她的一生呢，来为其他人服务。
I am sure she's reincarnated into a very good place.
所以仁波切很肯定呢，她已经就是转世到一个非常好的地方，
Maybe even better than some Buddhists.
可能转世到比一些我们普通的佛教徒更好的一个地方去。
Example,
比如
why
说
don't，you go to the toilet for a while? For example,
举个例子，
Mahatma Gandhi, a Hindu,
甘地，
he sacrificed his life to liberate all of India from colonialism and to have independence and dignity. He never raised a gun, he never held a sword, he never hurt anyone, but he liberated 1 billion people from colonialism to have dignity. In the end, they shot him. And when they shot him, he said, I forgive you. So don't you think Mahatma Gandhi took a very good rebirth in a very good place to continue his spiritual practice without being a Buddhist?
再有另外一个例子就是印度圣雄甘地，他不是佛教徒，他奉献他一生呢，就是为印度的人民服务，从这个殖民地解放出来。所以呢，他不曾举过一个枪，不曾举过一把刀来杀人，可是他用他的这个牺牲呢，把这个印度呢的所有人民呢解放，从这个英国的殖民地手中呢解放出来。所以当他最终被谋杀的时候呢，被枪杀，然后他最后一句话就是说，我原谅你，就是他对那个枪杀他的人说，我原谅你。所以呢，仁波切就是说，你难道不觉得甘地这样子呢，他的这种精神呢，他能够转世到更好的一个地方，能继续他的修行吗？虽然说他根本就不是一个佛教徒。
The Buddha mentioned there are 3 realms of existence. 3 classifications: form, formless, and desire. Suk, Sukme, Deja, Kamsung.
佛陀说，我们世界有3界，色界、欲界、色界和无色界。
Formless, desire.
欲界、色界和无色界。
Within the form, formless, and desire, there are countless billions of planets, Buddha mentioned. Many, many planets. Within the desire realm, there are millions of universes. Within the millions of universes, there are billions of planets. Within those planets, we're only one planet. Now, Buddha also mentioned there are many Buddhas who manifest in different realms, form, formless, and desire, and different planets to teach, where Buddhism in other planets wouldn't even be called Buddhism. My point, it doesn't have to be labeled Buddhism in order to achieve nirvana.
就是说，在你举完一个例子呢，就是说佛陀有说3界，欲界、色界、无色界。在这3界之中呢，就有比如说有一个在整个宇宙之中呢，有千千万万上亿的这个银河系，银河系里面呢又有上亿的这个星球，星球呢又有上千万的这个星球，所以这个星球上面也有生物。所以呢， 佛陀呢，佛菩萨呢，就会在不同的这个星球上、这个行星上面示现，然后在那边教法，然后可能在另外一个星球上呢，他们教法，他们根本就不叫做佛陀，不叫这个标签，这个名字叫佛陀，可是他们教的同样的法，所以呢，你不需要成为佛教徒来达到证悟。仁波切的意思就是这样。
The Buddha can be called another name. The Dharma can be called another name. And what we practice here can be different on another plane, another existence, another planet. But the goal is the same. Because the Buddha's omniscience is very varied. What he showed us here on this planet is just one small bit, but he has much wisdom to show Dharma in many ways.
就佛陀的这个他的心事呢，他的这个心事呢是全知的，所以呢他在地球上示现的呢只是非常非常小的一点，他在其他星球上、其他行星上面所示现呢，可能又是的名字呢，可能又不叫佛陀，可能又不叫佛法，而是另外一种名字，可是呢都能够同样的带领我们去得到证悟，所以仁波切就是这个意思。
For example, just on this planet, we have Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana.
在比如说，在这个我们这个星球上、地球上呢，有3乘，小乘、大乘跟金刚乘。
Great monks can debate. The great monks of Mahayana, the great monks of Hinayana, the great monks of Vajrayana can get together and debate which is the best one. We can debate and debate and debate. But actually, all can bring us to enlightenment, but the label is different. So just on this planet alone, we have 3 different forms of Buddhism existent.
就这3乘呢，就是每个乘的这个高僧大德们，他们能够聚来一起来辩论，说哪一个乘比较好。可是呢，其实呢，这3个乘呢，小乘也好，大乘也好，金刚乘也好，3个乘都能全部都同样的能够把我们带领达到证悟的一个境界。
So therefore, the label Buddhism is not important. The label, but the action is more important, because the action will create karma. Whether we know it or not, it will create karma.
就是这个标签啊，佛教徒这个标签其实不重要，重要的是我们的行为，因为我们的行为能够制造因果，所以呢，这个因果能够给我们带来还是好或是坏的这个结果，所以呢，这个行为比这个标签来的更加重要。
Does that help you a little bit?
有回答你的问题吗？
Good. Questions?
We always help people by placing lamrin on their head upon their death. And I was thinking, by the technology advance, can we actually download into a thumb drive for us to easy to carry around? So when we see dead bodies like animals' bodies and everything, so we can place the thumb drive upon the head for the blessings of the lamrin as well. Is it the same effect?
You see, when you go to a funeral, you are helping 2 people. You are helping the person who's passed away, and you are helping the family who are grieving and suffering. So if you go and place a thumb drive on their head, it helps the dead person, but it doesn't help the living persons. They're thinking, why are you putting a thumb drive on my mother's head? Okay? So for your convenience, and for your easiness, you put a little thumb drive on their head. Yes, it benefits them, but the whole family is looking. What about the grandmother there or the grandfather who doesn't know what a thumb drive is? So I think it would be more useful if we take an actual Dharma book and put on their head for the sake of everyone concerned, and tolerate the heavy Dharma book and inconvenience for their sake. Would that be all right?
Actually, my question is like when I'm passing by like dead animal bodies.
The what?
Because dead animal bodies.
Dead?
Animal bodies, like
yes.
dogs and everything. So when
then you have to say it's for dead animal bodies, not just dead bodies. You have to be clear.
Yeah, animal bodies. I mean, when we pass by, when we see dead bodies that we like to benefit them. The thumb drive.
Then it would be much better to recite Medicine Buddha's mantra and blow on them directly. That will have more effect. Okay? Question?
Dear Rinpoche, it is said that when doing the meditation, people probably could see some spirits, that means ghosts. Is that true? If it is true, how to deal with it?
If we do meditation, some people see ghosts. And if we see ghosts, how to deal with it? Is that the question?
Yeah, thank you.
It is true. It is true. Some people who do meditation are able to see ghosts. Let me explain why. When you do meditation, your level of concentration becomes very powerful and strong. If you do your meditation long and strong and well, you will develop a very strong third eye, so you can see ghosts around you. But at the same time, when you develop your meditation that level, when you see the ghosts, you won't be scared either. Okay? So at our level, if we see the ghost, maybe we're very scared. But if your meditation is so good that you can see a ghost, it means that you also have the power of meditation. So the ghost cannot harm you. For example, Buddha's meditation is very powerful. And Buddha can see ghosts, but it doesn't disturb him. All right? Some people, that's the general rule. That's the general rule. On the side, there are people, even without meditation, can see ghosts. Okay? Some people can see without meditation ghosts. For example, I can see a lot of ghosts around me. They're not ghosts, but they act like ghosts. Last night I had a meeting with a few people, and some of the people act just like ghosts. Very selfish, very comfort-orientated, very me, just like ghosts. Sometimes humans are worse than ghosts. Why? Ghosts are just reincarnations of humans who didn't let go. You know what's the best way to take rebirth as a ghost? To not let go of our attachments and comfort zones. That's the main cause to take rebirth as a ghost. Now, if ordinary people see ghosts and they want to prevent that, if you are a monk or a nun, a ghost cannot touch you. By the power of your vows, the robes, the ghost cannot penetrate. Unless you're a naughty monk. Then the ghosts come to visit you. If you're a good monk, ghosts cannot disturb you. You can take your robe, come. Let's say this person has ghosts. A real monk can take the robe and cover the person, the ghost will go away because the Buddha's vows will bless this person. All right? Now for ordinary people, if you see ghosts and you're scared, you can do the practice of Heart Sutra. You can do the practice of Setra. You can do the practice of Singdoma or Dukat or Black Manjushri. Any of these practices will chase the ghost away. I met one person in Seremban. Every single night, the ghost will come to her room and open the door, close the door, open the door, close the door, open and close the whole night. She cannot sleep. She moved the bed, it still moved, open and close the door. She go to another room, it open and close the door all the time. Only open and close the door the whole night, she cannot sleep. So when she came to see me, she's very pale and she has very big eye bags and she's like this. Because she didn't sleep for many months already. So she's already become sick. So she asked me what to do. I gave her a meditation. It's Black Tara. When she did the meditation, after 2 weeks, she told me no more. She can sleep now. And since then, no more complaint about ghosts. After she did the meditation, after that, the door stopped opening and closing. That was all. Okay, so for normal people, there is that circumstance. But if you meditate and see a ghost, you have to have your meditation pretty high already, so you don't need to worry. Okay, for you and me, don't worry. It's far from it. Questions? Questions?
Can you speak Chinese?
Yes, I can. 你好吗？
什么是正悟？
What is enlightened? What is
enlightenment? Enlightenment is when you don't have to fundraise anymore.
正悟是当你不需要再去筹款，这是我们在开玩笑。
When you don't have to build temple anymore.
然后你不需要再去建寺庙。
When your students listen to what you say.
当你的徒弟呢、弟子呢听你所说的话。
When you don't have to deal with contractors.
但你不需要跟那些发展商沟通，那是正悟。开玩笑。
If you wish to know what enlightenment is, we'll need a half a day to explain.
如果你真的需要知道正悟到底是什么，我们需要半天的时间来解释。
But in short,
就简短的来说。
Sometimes our mind is calm. Sometimes our mind is flustered. Sometimes our mind is very happy. Sometimes our mind is very sad. Sometimes our mind is very clear. Sometimes our mind is very confused.
就是我们的心事呢，有时候是起伏不定，有时候是平静，有时候是很混乱，有时候是很快乐，有时候是很悲伤的，这是我们的心事。
When our mind is calm and clear and happy, that is the natural state of the mind.
当我们的心事呢，在处于一种很平静、很光明、很快乐的一种境界的时候，那是我们的自然的一种心境的一种境界。
That is the true nature of our mind: happiness, clarity, and calmness.
那才是我们的心事的真正的一种境界，就是清晰、就是光明、很清晰、很平静、很快乐，才是我们真正的这个心事的一个境界。
When we're in that state of mind, we can think, and we can help, and we can do things for people around us. We can be a very big benefit.
当我们处在那种心境的情况下呢，我们才能就是真正的思考，然后思考后，然后来帮助更多的人。
So therefore, when we practice the removal of the causes that disturb our mind, when we remove the causes, and the causes are fully removed, and we stay in that calm, abiding mind with wisdom and happiness, that is a form of enlightenment.
就是当我们就是修行，然后修行来怎么样呢？就是消除那些所有干扰我们这个心事，让我们心事起伏不定，让我们心事这个觉得混乱的这种因素，把这些种种不好的这个因素去除掉呢，然后让我们的心事呢，就是一直保持在那种非常平静、非常光明、非常快乐那种境界的时候呢，就是有智慧的那种境界的时候呢，这就是一种正悟的一种表现。
Enlightenment is a state of mind that creates no more dukkha, no more suffering for yourself and for others.
正悟呢，就是一种心事的境界，就是这种心事的境界呢，让我们不再去这种制造这种因，让我们继续受苦，让我们继续的这个轮回转世受苦，这就是一个正悟的一种境界的心事。
When our mind can abide in that state all the time, that is enlightenment.
如果我们的心境呢，我们的心事能够一直不断的持续的保持在那种境界呢，这就是一种正悟。
Free from suffering.
就是没有这个痛苦。
Free from the causes of suffering.
没有这个痛苦的因素。
Free from the remnants of suffering.
没有痛苦的这个残余的这个。
Free from all karma that creates suffering.
还有就是没有这个所有种种造成这个痛苦这个因果的一种境界。
That state of mind is enlightenment.
这种心事的境界呢，就是一种正悟。
Okay? Do you speak Tibetan?
你说藏语吗？
I just wanted to test them.
只是跟你开玩笑，试探一下。
Questions? Yes.
当我们去世的时候，当然我们知道什么时候会放弃、舍弃其他东西。但是，假如是唯一的，就是假如是感情啊，或者我们所爱的人，或者我们家人，我们放弃不了，那怎么办呢？我们会去到哪里？
When we die, we know we should let go of a lot of attachments. But what if we cannot let go of, for example, relationship and people that we love, or family and things like that, people like that? So what do we do if we cannot let go of those so-called elements?
Then we'll take a negative rebirth.
那我们就会转世这个三恶道。
Yeah. So that's why before death, we have to let go of, we have to practice letting go.
所以很重要，就是在我们就是死亡之前呢，我们必须就是修行，就是放弃这个执着，很重要。
If we practice letting go at the time of death, then definitely it's not enough time.
然后，如果我们真的就是已经学习了，就是修行了，达到那种就是能够放弃在死亡之前放弃的那种境界的时候呢，我们就是死亡呢，就是不会再对我们造成任何这个带来就是这种痛苦，或是让我们下这个三恶道。
Right now,
就到现在
think.
想想一下，
If someone was to take your friend away, how do you feel?
如果就是有人把你的这个朋友就是带走，你会有什么感觉？
Right now, if someone was to is to make you lose face, make you lose dignity, lose face, take the credit away, how do you feel?
如果有人就让你没有面子，就是让你没有尊严，你有什么感受？
If someone now gives you more work and inconveniences you, and inconveniences your comfort zone, how do you feel?
其实如果现在有人呢给你更多的工作，然后让你带来更多不方便，然后就是让你从你的舒适地带中带走，你会有什么感受？
If they took this away from you, how you feel now is exactly how you'll feel at the time of death, except more intense because you can never get it back.
就是你说，所以他们当你在现在呢对你做这些东西的时候呢，你是说现在的所有感受呢，就是你去世的时候那时候的同样的这个感受，而那你去世的时候那个感受会更加的强烈，因为你永远再得不回来了。
So if they were to take this away from you now, how would you feel tremendous suffering and unhappiness? This suffering and unhappiness is there. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, never mind, I can get it back. But at the time of death, when they take it away, it'll be the same thing, but times 100, 200. Why? Because in the back of your mind, you know this is the end.
其实，在现在有人把那些东西统统把你的身边带走，你会感觉很不好。可是呢，你还会想说，我还会再得回这些东西。可是呢，在你死亡的那一刻呢，你就会你知道你已经得不回那些东西了。所以呢，你的这个就是强烈这种负面的感觉会更加增强100倍。
So therefore, your question is very, very good.
所以你的问题很好。
Thinking and reflecting on your question, that is exactly why it's urgent for us to practice Dharma now.
所以呢，思考你的这个问题呢，就是为什么我们必须在现在呢就修行佛法。
Because even as we sit here, everything on us is fading.
就是其实我们现在坐在这里呢，我们身上的所有东西呢，都在慢慢的消逝掉。
Even as we sit here, we're aging.
即使我们坐在这里，我们也慢慢的变老。
And even as we sit here, we are 1 minute closer to death.
其实我们现在坐着，我们也最近的就是更加接近这个死亡。
In fact, for many of us in this room, including me, many of us, the time left to live is less than the time closer to death.
就是我们在座的很多人，就是包括仁波切，他说，包括仁波切自己，就是我们就是剩下能生存的这个时间呢，比我们已经生存过的时间呢还来得少。
So the time we have left to live, some of us here, including me, is very less.
我们剩下就是能够继续生存的时间呢，非常非常的简短了。
It could be tonight.
可能是今晚。
It could be tomorrow.
可能是明天。
It could be next week.
可能是下个星期。
As a Buddhist monk, every time someone knows someone has passed away, they send me the name to do prayer.
就是仁波切是一个佛教僧侣，所以呢，经常有人呢，就是朋友或是朋友、亲戚朋友的朋友呢，就是死亡的时候呢，他们就会把这个名字交给仁波切，让仁波切帮他们祈祷。
Every single week,
每一个星期
someone sends me a name, someone has died. Every single week.
每一个星期仁波切都收到名字，就是说某某人去世了。
Some weeks it's 3 names.
有某个星期甚至是3个人
Some
去
weeks
世，
it's 2 names.
有时候是2个名字，
But definitely got 1 name.
可是呢，至少有一个名字，
And they're not old people.
而且他们不是年老的人，
Some are 20 who've passed away.
有些是你20多岁的，
Or some are 31, 32.
有些是30多岁、31、32岁。
Some are now, as we talk, in the hospital, dying or in a coma.
有些呢，就是现在呢，在这个时间呢，已经在这个医院呢，就是在昏迷状态，就是在死亡的境界了。
I go to the hospital to visit them, to do prayers.
仁波切呢，亲自到这个医院呢，去拜访他们，帮他们做祈祷。
So every single week, I always receive a notice, someone has died.
每一个星期呢，仁波切都就是收到名字说有人去世了。
Within 60 years, within 60 years, every single person in this room will be dead.
在未来的60年以内呢，这现在在场坐着的每一个人呢，都会已经去世了。
And then your money, your position, your power, your children have no more meaning.
那我们的金钱、我们的权势、我们的地位、我们的孩子，统统都再也没有什么意义了。
That's why even at this moment, they have no meaning.
所以呢，在现在呢，他们对我们来说其实也是没有意义的。
It's all borrowed.
所以呢，都是好像是借来的。
So if we meditate like this every day, this is what Buddha taught us. If we meditate like this every day, our attachment will become less.
所以佛陀教导我们，如果我们每一天呢都做这样的修行、这样的观想呢，我们的执着呢就会慢慢的减少。
Then it wouldn't be difficult to become a monk.
然后呢，就出家成为僧侣呢，就不会再是一件困难的事。
Okay, so those are some truths. Remember, within 60 years, everyone in this room will be dead.
仁波切再强调一下，就是一个真理，就是说，在60年以内呢，我们在场的所有人呢，都会已经死了。
Then what's the meaning of life?
那生命到底有什么意义？
What have you done?
我们做了什么？
What benefit have you done?
我们为他人带来什么意义？
How have you helped others?
我们帮助了人家什么？
You say, oh, but I have children. It's okay, my dog has children too.
就是说，我们可以说我们有孩子，可是呢，狗也可有他们自己的孩子。
It has no more meaning.
这些全部呢都没有意义了。
This is the first step of meditation. First step. Impermanence and death.
这是观想，这是观想的第一步，就是观想无常，死亡的无常。
Okay? Now it's 10 o'clock. We are finished. Today, I decided to do something different. Instead of teaching, I decided to let you ask your questions. If you ask your questions, perhaps I can answer it. After I've answered your questions, after you go home, maybe the Dharma can be deeper inside of you. I was a little nervous in case you have a question I cannot answer. But so far, not bad. I thank you all very much for coming today. I thank Paul and the KH department for doing the organizing. I thank you for all the wonderful gifts. And I also thank the Venerable Reverends, the Venerable Monks, and the nuns who are visiting here. I thank them very much. It's a very honor to see all of you. And I'd like to thank my friends and I'd like to thank my guests for being here. For me, a birthday celebration is not, I don't like birthday celebrations. I don't like birthday things. I don't like things related to birthday. Why? Why should anyone celebrate my birthday? What did I do? Who am I? I'm nothing. But what we should celebrate is this. Is today I'm alive. I didn't die. What did I do today to benefit another person, an animal? What did I do? This is the most important question we have to ask ourselves every single day. From the time you wake up to the time you went to sleep. What did I do today to be a benefit to others? And then this benefit cannot remain as one. The next time it has to be 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. It has to increase. So therefore you have to always think, what benefit did I bring for others? That's one. Second, what negative quality in my mind have I lessened today? That's the other question we have to ask ourselves every single day. Some people call that a way of life. Some people call that a philosophy. I don't. Because in all actions we do, there's karma, there's repercussions, there's results. That's based on Buddha's teachings. So for me, whatever I do, I always think about karma and the repercussions. If I do this, I accumulate this karma. Do I want that result? I'm very afraid of karma. I'm very afraid of results. What makes me an okay person, not a wonderful person, an okay person? What makes me remain a monk is my 100% belief in karma. What actions I do, there will be results. So for me, it's no problem to be a monk. No problem at all. Why? I know I'm doing the best I can. So therefore, my parting message to everyone here is, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to some of the questions and answers. What I sincerely hope is some of the wisdom that we have shared here, you can take back home with you, and you can contemplate, and you can think carefully. And then when you think about it, if it benefits you, and you find it logical, apply it, and be a different person tomorrow. To say I'm a Buddhist, to say I'm a Catholic, a Christian, to say that I am a Hindu, a Jew, but we are not kind. And we're jealous. And we're competitive. And we lie. And we have no integrity. And we're selfish. Doesn't make us spiritual people. So let's take example of Buddhism. If you say you're a Buddhist, the first thing you must develop is integrity. What you say, you will do. The first thing you must develop is integrity. Why? For the lowest, for the beginning teachings of Buddha, for the intermediate teachings, and the middling and the highest teachings of Buddha, integrity is the most important in achieving results. If you do wish to do the highest practice of Buddhism, such as Vajrayogini, taught by Lord Buddha, in northern India, the most important is integrity, because you will take the words of honor and vows during the initiation, and during that initiation, whatever you promise Vajrayogini, you must keep it, and then you will gain results. If you promise Vajrayogini and you don't keep it, in fact, it'll go backwards. You'll collect more negative karma. So when we have a relationship with our teacher, we have a relationship on an ordinary level, integrity is most important. To do as we say and never detract from that. Because if we can't do what we say at this level, we'll never be able to do what we say at this level. If we cannot do it at this level, we cannot practice this level. If we cannot get to this level, then we remain here in samsara. Integrity is most important. Okay, this is very, very important to keep in our minds. Otherwise, my congratulations to the new pastors. Again, the pastors is not to replace Sangha. The pastors are people on the way to becoming a monk or a nun. For example, this lady here has requested me to become a nun. This lady here has requested me to become a nun. So before they become a nun, I give them the vows of pastorship so they can hold the vows well for a short time. Then if they're comfortable and it's okay, then I will send them to Ganden Monastery to take the vows of a nun or monk. So this is just a preliminary step. What we can call this in Sanskrit is upasaka or upasaki vows, the vows of a lay holder. And that's all it is. All right, thank you very much. Dazo jine sabi gyamandi chanda jowa kundang gambanda jeba jesong lozo ndabai dambi himbo di sa shi sho janju sinjo rinpo ji manchen panan chigi ji cheba neba meba yang gonen gondu pewa doni donwa rinpo ji manchen panan chigi ji cheba neba meba yang gonen gondu pewa gyamandi nudu da lama sanje jugune jowa chigi malo ba de salang goban chuji jabo zongga ba chuji namba pewa ba ginjin jima shivang dan tunjin malong tamash dadang jisin dusun dan jewe zoni la dene jewa lo san jabayi tenba yuding ba juji. If the obstacles do not win, then whether it's in KFR or wherever in the future, one of the meditations that I will focus on for lay people is breath meditation. There will be two types of breath meditation. One will be walking, one will be sitting. Walking and sitting, the difference is when you walk, you need to have a higher level of perception, a higher level of awareness. Sitting meditation is easier because you just need to meditate on the breath. So we meditate on the breath going in, then we meditate on the breath going out, and then we feel the breath at our nostrils. And we focus on the breath. The purpose is not the breath, the purpose is to develop concentration. When we do this type of meditation, your mind will calm down, awareness will grow, your ears, your eyes, your thinking will become sharper. And those who are distracted, cannot keep still, their minds will calm down. So in the future, I will focus on this type of meditation as taught by the perfect Buddha. This meditation is for who? For anyone. You don't need to pray. You don't need to be a Buddhist. All you need is to want to have a calm, quiet, focused mind. So I will teach this type of meditation in the future for developing concentration, focus, and awareness. What's the purpose of developing concentration, focus, and awareness? Everything people tell you, you will hear clearer and faster. Everything you try to think out will be quicker and faster. And your memory will sharpen. And also, your anger will lessen. Your tolerance level will increase. And stress will be reduced. Stress arises from the mind. So stress must be countered from the mind. When we counter stress, then we don't act out of stress. When we don't act out of stress, then we create less negative karma. So therefore, in the future, I will teach, it's called, number one, the 9-round meditation on the breath, where you breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out 3 times. Then the opposite, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out 3 times. Then in, out 3 times. Then the whole cycle 3 times. Then you focus and sit and do the meditation on the stillness of the breath. I will teach that in the future, and I'll have retreats for that. And those are for people who are interested in calming down their mind, gaining focus, and also gaining concentration. You won't see ghosts. Where I am, it's hard for a ghost to come nearby. I'm very fierce. Even people don't want to come nearby. Never mind ghosts. If there's a bhikshu, if there's a monk or a nun, a real one, ghosts usually cannot come near. If they come near, it's only to pay homage. So in the future, I will teach this type of meditation for city people, for lay people. Why? Because you're stressed out. And is it for Buddhists? No. Is it to make you a Buddhist? No. What is it to make you? A calm, collective, quiet person that has peace. Whether we're Buddhists or not, we all want peace, isn't it? I certainly want peace, and I do not have peace. No. So why am I not doing the breath meditation? That's why I want to go to the mountains. Living in Malaysia, having a Dharma center is the exact antidote to no peace. So my recommendation to you is don't open a Dharma center. Don't be a guru. Never. Then you'll have some sort of peace. And if you're going to be a guru, then you'll need a lot of blessings from the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Okay? Nice to see all of you. Nice to meet all of you.